Hello guys, just in with another update for the Portuguese challenge. So I'm a little bit under a week since my last update. I understand I did the update on the Friday actually. And there's been a little bit of change in my work, so I'm doing slightly less Portuguese. But nonetheless, today I managed to finish the book of Genesis. So that's all done now. So what did I learn from Genesis? Nothing really consciously. There were certain words that that appeared more and more often, but I did find that I suppose none of this is really going to surprise anybody. There are a lot of obscure place names which sometimes I mistaked for Portuguese words initially, and then I looked and it was like, oh, okay. And there were certain structures to the words that I learnt as well, like Canaan is Canal, or something like this, or Canal. So I also am still not 100% sure on the forms of ver and vir. So that would be, to go, to come, and to see. Those things aren't necessarily as clear. They are clearer, I think, than they were when I was reading the Gospel of John, but they're still not the level that I'd like them to be at. In terms of other things, I couldn't give you like a stripped down idea of how much I've improved. But what I can say is that the amount of Portuguese I've read has nearly doubled over the last week. So if we just calculate here, sorry for that little cut off there. Silly little oversight of mine. Maybe not an oversight. Maybe the fact that I didn't plan this at all. Yeah, so I've read now 76,000 words of Portuguese, and reading Genesis increased it by about half, a little under half. So I'd read 40,000 words, and now I've read an extra 35 in the last week, which should probably give you a fairly good idea of how much my Portuguese reading has progressed. So, for reference as well, I also skip Sundays, so I've been reading this for all in all 5 days. So in 5 days I've done 35,000 words, whereas a few weeks ago I did 21,000 words in a much more uniform text. Granted, I was checking the dictionary a lot more than I was now. I did this in 2 weeks, a little over. Actually, I think it was 10 days. Never mind. So yeah, I'm reading significantly quicker now than I was before. In terms of what I'm going to do next, I'm thinking I'm going to do the Book of Ezekiel, because if you look up here, this is just the generic, an older version of my difficulty working out software. You learn the most words with only this book, and I think on another version it says that I know about 72% of the words already. So I'm thinking I'm going to crack on with Ezekiel. I'm also, the difficulty scores on a more up-to-date algorithm. The reason I'm not showing the page is that I'm a little bit suspicious of some of my counting, because I added a feature to try and figure out cumulative difficulty scores. So these cumulative difficulty scores indicate that Genesis and Numbers, not Genesis, Exodus and Numbers are the next easiest books, and I don't want to read Exodus. I found Genesis to be not a particularly interesting read, but then again, I suppose it's penance, isn't it? So it's not supposed to be interesting, but I learn the language less if I read less interesting texts. So I'm thinking I'll read Ezekiel. Hopefully that will be refreshing. I'll get back to you next week and tell you how it goes. See you later, guys.